Ever swear you saw shattered glass at a minor fender bender, only to find out later the street was perfectly clean? Or maybe you have heard about the famous psychology test where viewers are so intensely focused on counting basketball passes that they completely miss a person in a full gorilla suit walking right through the middle of the game. These are not just fun trivia questions. They point to a profound and simple truth about how you operate. Your brain saves what is useful, not what is perfectly accurate. And once you understand that this is not a flaw, but a deeply ingrained survival feature designed to help you act fast, you can change the way you learn, lead, and remember. Think about a classic experiment where people watch the exact same video of a minor car accident. Afterward, they were asked to estimate the speed of the vehicles. But there was a catch. The researchers changed just one word in the question. When they used the word smashed, viewers guessed significantly higher speeds than when the question used the word hit. A week later, that single intense verb had worked its way so deep into their minds that a third of the smashed group vividly remembered seeing broken glass scattered on the road. There was no broken glass. That one emotional word nudged the story their brain decided to save, entirely rewriting the past to match a feeling. Another famous demonstration makes this point even sharper. Imagine you are asked to watch a video of people passing a basketball, and your only job is to count the passes. You are focused. You are tracking the ball. Right in the middle of this, someone in a gorilla suit strolls across the court, stops, beats their chest, and walks off. It takes several seconds. Yet roughly half the people who do this task never see the gorilla at all. They are looking right at the screen, and they miss it completely. If your attention is fully occupied by a specific goal, even the most obvious, ridiculous things in your environment can simply vanish from your perception. Put these strange quirks together, and the core idea snaps into brilliant focus. What you store in your mind is not a perfect video recording of your life. It is a highly guided, heavily edited remix. Attention chooses the ingredients you let in. Emotion highlights what might matter for your safety. Meaning gives those details a permanent home. Repetition builds a paved road back to that memory. In this process, exact, objective accuracy often gets traded away in favor of usefulness. Your brain is not an archive. It is a prediction engine. It keeps only the parts that will help you figure out what to do next. This matters because your brain did not evolve to be an objective, high-fidelity camera. It evolved over millions of years to help you survive in a chaotic, dangerous world. Its primary jobs are to help you avoid threats, find trustworthy allies, and make split-second decisions under extreme pressure. In those high-stakes moments, a rough but handy map of the situation is incredibly valuable. A perfect, incredibly detailed record that takes 10 minutes to load and sort through would literally get you killed. The brain trades precision for speed, and that is a brilliant evolutionary bet. That evolutionary trade-off explains so much of the friction in our daily lives. It explains the passionately confident but completely wrong memory you and a friend might argue about. It explains why a heavily simplified story at work sticks in everyone's mind and steers company choices, while a nuanced data report is forgotten by lunch. It is the reason facts cram the night before a test evaporate while spaced out. Meaningful practice endures for decades. Usefulness naturally compresses information, and compression inevitably distorts it. If you understand this dynamic, you can intentionally shape what sticks in your mind without fooling yourself in the process. Let us break down the underlying mechanisms that run this system, starting with attention. Think of your attention as a very narrow gate. It is a tightly focused spotlight. If your spotlight is trained intensely on one particular task, massive pieces of information can stroll right by you unseen in the dark. That invisible gorilla result is not just a funny party trick. It is a profound demonstration of the attention gate at work in plain sight. We are largely blind to everything outside the beam. The fundamental rule is simple. Memory cannot save what never makes it through the gate. You do not absorb a massive, wide-angle view of a scene and then casually crop it down later to save space. You build your entire reality only from the small, fragmented pieces that your spotlight happens to hit. That is exactly why you can perfectly remember the basketball and the precise number of passes, while remaining completely unaware of the enormous distraction right in the center of the room. So the real question becomes, what actually aims that spotlight in the first place? The answer is your goals, unexpected surprises, and perceived rewards or risks. If a piece of information helps you achieve your current objective, it glows brightly in your mind. If something feels unusually loud or potentially threatening, it forcefully grabs the beam. That spotlight dictates the raw material that enters your memory. If you want to control what you remember tomorrow, you have to become incredibly intentional about where you aim your beam today. The second mechanism is emotion. A strong rush of emotion acts like a bright red tag, marking a moment as critically important. When you experience a sudden stress response, it chemically boosts the brain's saving process. You experience faster consolidation, which is a biological way of making a new memory stable and durable after the event has passed. Emotion loudly tells your nervous system that whatever just happened is vital, and you need to keep it handy for the future. But while emotion ensures you keep the memory, it does not promise to keep every pixel perfectly sharp. It brutally prioritizes the gist of the event. The peripheral details, the edges of the memory, can easily blur, fade, or bend to fit the overarching narrative. In fact, laboratory studies have shown that if you chemically blunt that physiological arousal in a controlled setting, the usual memory boost for an emotional event shrinks dramatically. Arousal is the lever that burns the core message in while letting the boring details melt away. Now let us look at repetition. Seeing or hearing the exact same claim multiple times makes it feel significantly easier for your brain to process. And here is the dangerous part. Easy processing often feels identical to truth. Psychologists call this fluency. Your brain naturally treats smooth, frictionless information as safe and deeply familiar. This mental shortcut is absolutely fantastic for quick decision-making, but it becomes incredibly risky when the repeated claim happens to be entirely wrong. Across many different studies, researchers have found that just a single extra exposure to a statement can bump up the likelihood that people will judge it as completely true by roughly 10 to 20 percentage points. This happens even when absolutely no new evidence is provided. Repetition is a powerful strength builder for habits and learning, but it can also bless total nonsense with an unearned sense of confidence. If you do not actively pause and check the facts, you can feel entirely sure of yourself for all the wrong reasons. The fourth mechanism is meaning and survival relevance. When people figure out how to tie abstract ideas to fundamental things like food, shelter, physical danger, or social status, their ability to recall those ideas skyrockets. A brilliant way to see this is a simple psychological task. Ask one group of people to rate how pleasant a list of words is. Ask another group to rate how useful those same words would be in a wilderness survival situation. Later, without warning, ask them to recall the words. The survival group will almost always remember significantly more. Why does this survival framing work so incredibly well? It works because it successfully hooks new, fragile information to deep, ancient goals that you instinctively care about. Every time you encounter new data, your brain's quiet, underlying question is, will this help me survive or thrive later? If the answer is yes, the idea gets an immediate, permanent storage upgrade. Creating deep meaning is not just about feeling good. It gives the brain a compelling biological reason to hold on to the information. The fifth mechanism is spacing. How you mathematically space out your encounters with information determines what ultimately endures. Spacing your reviews of a topic beats cramming every single time, because letting time pass forces your brain to work hard to rebuild the idea from scratch. That very effort of retrieval is what heavily strengthens the neural path. Think of it like walking a trail through a dense forest. If you walk it once and leave it for a year, it overgrows. But if you walk it again just before the plants completely take it back, the path becomes permanent. An incredibly handy rule that many effective learners use is the 10 to 20% rule. Pick a review gap that is roughly 10 to 20% of how long you ultimately want to remember the information. If you need to have a concept sharp in 2 to 3 months, aim for your first dedicated refresh in 1 to 2 weeks. Spacing acts like a ruthless, highly efficient filter. The helpful, robust core survives the delay, while the fragile, useless fluff falls away naturally. To see how all these pieces dramatically collide, consider a striking real-world case: flashbulb memories. These are memories for highly shocking, emotionally charged public events that feel permanently frozen in amber. Think of exactly where you were during a massive global news event. Months and even years later, these memories feel razor crisp and absolutely certain in your mind. Yet when researchers meticulously track them, they find that the factual details actually drift and degrade at the exact same rate as completely normal, everyday memories. The truly fascinating part is that people remain extremely confident in their memories, even as their actual stories shift entirely. Confidence, it turns out, tracks your internal feeling of fluency, not your objective accuracy. The memory feels incredibly bright and undeniable because it carried immense emotional weight and personal meaning at the time, not because every tiny detail stayed perfectly true. Vividness is a powerful internal spotlight highlighting an emotional truth. It is not, and never has been, a warranty of factual perfection. Step back and look at the profound trade-off staring you in the face. Attention, emotion, repetition, meaning, and spacing are not just strange memory quirks. They all work flawlessly together in concert to help you act quickly in a highly complex world. They relentlessly compress the overwhelming, messy reality of life into a simplified, elegant map you can easily carry. That map is beautifully fast to use. Naturally, some fine detail is lost in the folding. That lost detail is simply the required price of speed. This mechanism is exactly why a brutally simple narrative told to a team every single week can guide behavior far better than a dense, comprehensive slide deck. The simple story is infinitely easier to recall when the pressure is on and time is incredibly tight. Remember the absolute rule: usefulness compresses and compression distorts. The ultimate trick to navigating work and life is learning how to leverage the speed and utility of a simple map without drifting entirely into dangerous, unseen errors. So how do you take this powerful mental model and actually make the right things stick in your own daily life? First, you have to aggressively wrap your ideas in purpose. Tell yourself exactly what this specific information will help you do tomorrow. Swap out abstract, boring corporate terms for extremely concrete stakes and add a small, genuine dose of feeling. Then consciously repeat the core message to yourself or your team in the exact same clean words so that cognitive fluency builds up precisely around the right concepts. Next, strategically space your reviews using that 10 to 20% guideline, deliberately catching the idea just before it slips away into the dark. Anchor the crucial facts you need to remember to profound themes of survival and deep meaning. Think about the real risks, the potential massive rewards, the actual time saved, or the deep social impact, whatever truly deeply matters to you or your organization. Tying abstract data to real-world stakes is what makes it unshakable. Now, we absolutely need to discuss the safeguards, because this biological system has massive blind spots. You must train yourself to treat confidence purely as a feeling check, never as an objective truth meter. Whenever you rely on a catchy, brilliantly compressed story to make a big decision, force yourself to pair it with a hard verification moment. Look at the raw numbers yourself. Dig into the primary source document, or actively ask a highly trusted, ruthless skeptic to aggressively review any high-stakes claims before you act on them. You have to be incredibly careful because the exact same psychological tools that phenomenally boost rapid learning can also be easily weaponized to spread terrible information. Emotion, repetition, and primal survival framing are profoundly powerful levers on the human mind. Because of this, you must build in strict, non-negotiable accuracy checks whenever the stakes are real and tangible. Keep the incredible usefulness of your brain's evolutionary compression software, but make absolute sure you manually add the guardrails. Here is the ultimate reframe to carry with you as you walk away. Treat your memory as a dynamic, deeply practical decision tool, not a dusty, perfect museum archive. If you want a vital lesson to stick forever, make it deeply meaningful, attach a little bit of genuine emotion, and strategically space out your encounters with it. But if you absolutely need that information to be flawless, do not rely on your brain alone. Build an external system of verification. Master both sides of this coin, and your days will get dramatically lighter, and your high-pressure decisions will get instantly sharper. Thanks for spending some valuable time with us today. We are dedicated to bringing you the single most valuable ideas and mental models, explained simply, to help you think and live like a vastly sharper version of yourself. If this idea fundamentally shifted how you view your own mind, consider subscribing and joining us for the next one. Leave a like if you found this breakdown valuable, and take a moment to explore our other videos for more brilliant frameworks you can use right now. Take care, and we will see you next time.